Hello, and welcome to the YouTube channel for my book, Changing the Worlds, a profitable plan for the human settlement of this solar system. Recently, President Trump announced that he is thinking about creating a new branch of the U.S. military called the Space Force. I wanted to make a video explaining the relationships between the services, and then the relationship between the government and space. It is the domain of the U.S. Army to fight on land, on Earth. A rather pointless distinction, since we are at present confined to one tiny planet. America has allied with dozens of nations all over the Earth. One human being in 7 is a U.S. citizen or has a defensive military alliance with the U.S. Another one person in 7 is a close ally but lacks a formal defensive treaty. Since the entire human race lives on the surface of this planet, and nations as distant as Singapore, Norway, and Free Korea are with us, the U.S. Army and our allies have nearly a third of the planet to secure. The U.S. Navy dominates the Earth's oceans. Our alliances give us not only ships but harbors to make use of ships. Since the commerce of this planet flows over the oceans, we can secure the trade of our friends and harass the trade of our enemies. The Marine Corps specializes in littoral combat, the 100-mile land-sea zone where most of mankind lives. Not a shark, not a lion, but a killer frog. The U.S. Air Force, enjoying harbors for their planes across the Earth, controls the air 100 miles above the surface. As air nurtures most animal life on this planet, the accomplishments of Wright, Boeing, and Lockheed allow America and our allies to confer death through the same medium. Last of all is the Coast Guard, a tiny constabulary of our coasts, warriors only in times of war, and otherwise chaperones for lost fishermen and the bane of drug smugglers. These are the existing branches of America's armed forces. Wherein would the Space Force serve? Space has long been a theater of war. All of the ballistic missiles made on this planet since the Second World War function by traveling to the edge or over the edge of space. There are countless pieces of space debris, mostly US-owned, that must be monitored to avoid collision or sneak attack. We have communications satellites in low Earth orbit, the GPS constellation in geosynchronous orbit, and radar recognizes no magic line 100 miles up. The Outer Space Treaty says anyone brave enough to colonize space loses all property rights off of the Earth. This is why most people think of space as the top of the sky, but they are all wrong. It's the bottom of the Milky Way. As John Locke pointed out, property is an essential part of liberty. Human beings never immigrate to a place with less total freedom than the place that they left. We need to start using nuclear thermal rockets we designed in 1971 to reach asteroids in weeks. We should start using Transastra's technology in conjunction with nuclear reactors to obtain propellant and building material at the top of the gravity well. We should use the 13,000 plutonium bomb cores that the US already has to redirect asteroids and comets, and terraform Mars and Venus quickly. We can triple the number of worlds where humans live, and we've been able to do all of these things for decades. Hopefully there will not be conflict in space. There's plenty to share. America owns most of the space debris in Earth orbit. We have the best computer software for autonomous scouts and drones. We have the most precise landing and navigation systems. We have a huge alliance of free people and 3/4 of the planet's wealth behind us. If we started the discussion to open up space, the world would listen. Our allies want to invest and support us. If their governments do not, then their citizens will, just as much as they support Coca-Cola, Microsoft, Lockheed, and McDonald's. Nations as distant as Malaysia and Belgium chose to send soldiers with us to Afghanistan. The asteroid belt is a far more hospitable place. Eros 433 is worth more money than everything ever produced by man. Every 2 years it comes within a month's flight by nuclear thermal rocket. All the fuel we will ever need can be drawn from nuclear waste on our own homeworld, and the propellant can be extracted by any nearby asteroid using Transastra's technology. Let's protect the mines on 21 Lutetia, 16 Psyche, and 22 Calliope. Let's guard the platinum mine and shipyard on Eros 433. Let's defend the settlers who live in the open air on Mars and Venus. Let's build an organization to rescue mining ships in the main belt, or tourists watching Saturn's rings. Let's defend the Lagrange objects we've made to keep Mars and Venus terraformed. I give instructions on how to colonize this solar system quickly in my book. A Space Force would be a wonderful thing to ensure that this happens, or to protect it after it happens. But let us rescind these most un-American of laws that ban anyone who is not a communist from space. Let's grant people the basic human right to own property where they live, even if they didn't carry their house into the sky with them. Let's rescind the Outer Space Treaty. We need not fight in space, but we should grant people the freedom to make something worth fighting for. I want companies working to bring man to space, not governments cooperating to keep us out. Thank you, and good night.